Christ has nobody now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks, compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes, you are his body. Christ has nobody now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks, compassion on this world. Christ has nobody now on earth but yours.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Spokane, where we are all about our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. My name is Darlene Walsh-Martin, and I will be your platform assistant this morning. If everyone could please take a moment and silence your cell phones, it would be much appreciated. As always, we want to begin together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life living through and as each of us. This morning, we will be hearing from our transformational speaker, Karen Dunmore, and her message entitled The Unique Imprint of the Grace of God. I will be leading us in today's meditation, and we're also going to be having music from Karen Darling. So now it's time for some news you can use with Amber McKenzie.
Thank you, Darlene. Hi, everybody. I'm Amber McKenzie, and I've got some really great, exciting news you can use. First up, we are having a spring clothing drive. So we had one a while ago, you may remember, and we were able to raise $400. And so we're looking to do something similar and maybe raise more, ideally. And so it's going to be April 5th to May 5th. And what we're asking is that you do what we did last time, which is bring in your gently used clothing. We just ask that you put it in garbage bags, and then you can just leave it in the breezeway of the church, and then someone will bring it and store it until we can take it to the donation center. And again, we're looking to increase the amount that we raised last time. So please, as you're doing your spring cleaning, put those clothes together, and then you can bring them in, like I said, between April 5th and May 5th. Of course, if you drop them off, before then, we will take them and put them in the storage area. Okay, and then today we have a youth Zoom gathering for Easter. That is today at 2 p.m. So please don't miss out on that. You'll see the Zoom meeting ID there on the screen, as well as the password. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today at 2. Okay, and then let's talk about our Easter services coming up. Very exciting. On Good Friday, April 2nd at 6 p.m. in the evening, we will be having a special service with Karen Dunmore and Julie Croteau, who will be providing the live music. This service will be available both in person and virtually. The title of Karen's message is The 7 Last Words, and there will be communion, candles, and contemplation. So we hope you can join us. As you know, we are allowing up to 50 into the sanctuary, and so please keep that in mind. And you just need to come and sign up. You no longer need to register online. Okay, and then of course on Easter Sunday, we have Reverend Deidre Ashmore, and she will be sharing a heartfelt and inspiring message titled The Transformative Power of Change. We are very excited to be welcoming Michael Robinson, who will be performing live music during this very special service as well. So please join us on Easter Sunday. Again, services will start at 10. Finally, today, Karen Dunmore will be joining our Reflections, Observations, and Inspirations Zoom call after services. This call, of course, is an opportunity for our virtual audience to connect and engage with each other and our transformational speaker. So we encourage anyone who's interested in joining to please hop on Zoom right after services. You can see the number up there, and we would love to see you. Okay, and now it's time for meditation with Darlene Walsh Martin. Many of you may not know this. I know I did not know this until she told me. But Darlene has been practicing mindfulness meditation for over 25 years, and she began teaching mindfulness meditation over 10 years ago. Even when she was talking, I felt very calm, and so I know she has a very calming presence about her. So I just am very happy that she is willing to come and be a platform assistant, as well as share her gift of meditation with us here today and into the future. And so with that, let's settle into this moment as Darlene divinely guides us in our meditation practice this morning. Thank you.
So let us prepare for our meditation. Today is Palm Sunday, and just as Jesus entered the holy city upon a donkey, symbolizing the spiritual movement and transformation within himself, and his arrival into the holy city in peace, we too are on our own transformational journey, moving even more deeply into the peace of our own Christ consciousness, our divine universal presence. So now let us begin to settle into the chair, feeling gravity easing your body even more fully into the chair. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And now moving your attention downward, feel your feet. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the bottoms of your feet touching the floor. And the floor for us can represent the earth. And now send roots into the earth, connecting with the earth. Expand into its vastness, its quiet, the peace of the earth. And now allow this connection to the earth to stay with you and also to expand. Allow this connection to expand. To expand upward now through your roots, back up into your feet, up into your legs and torso, and into your heart. Expanding even more deeply into your heart, into its vastness and quiet, its warmth, into the love and the tranquility of your heart. And now expanding into your arms and hands, broadening and expanding, and into your neck and head until your whole body is a part of this connection to the vastness, to the quiet, to the tranquility, to the peace. And now with the whole body connected to the earth and beyond, connected to all of this within you, expand your attention into your breath, watching your breath, watching the movement of your breath in and out. Maybe you notice the breath in your chest or abdomen or maybe somewhere else. Just breathe. Just watch the breath in and out. And watch this movement of the breath, perhaps with wonder. In this movement, in the vastness, in the quiet, in the love, the breath moves into every cell, soothing every cell, soothing every thought. Every emotion. The breath is filling you with peace and love and compassion for yourself and others. And as you exhale, release anything that no longer serves you or the greater good. Allow yourself to fully feel this moment, to fully take it in, to take it into your whole being and expand your aliveness. And in this new moment, now notice your breath again. Notice the movement of the breath. And as you notice the movement of the breath is in your body. This body that is sitting on a chair, in this room where you began this meditation. And as we prepare to end this meditation, blessings to you on your journey of transformation. And now go ahead and open your eyes if they have been closed.
Well, that was beautiful, and it was exactly what I needed. I was kind of over-caffeinated this morning. I'm not anymore. I'm just about asleep. So my talk title today is The Unique Imprint of God's Grace. And that title came from one of my readings in my journal by Paramahansa Yogananda, my favorite person to quote. In each soul, the unique imprint of God's grace. Nowhere in the world is there another exactly like you. Today I will be speaking about Jesus and Palm Sunday, the symbolic meaning of Palm Sunday in all our lives and its importance, not only in Christianity, but in other religions of the world. Jesus was certainly a prime example. I forgot I'm doing the clicker here. Was certainly a prime example of a most unique imprint of the grace of God. And truly nowhere in the world has there ever been another exactly like him. He gave us the gift of himself, child of the divine, and let us know that we are capable of doing all that he has done, and even greater things. He left his imprint in every heart as he laid out a roadmap for all to follow, a path to true peace and joy, which are our birthright. I will probably flip-flop here between truth, tradition, myth and mysticism, and metaphysics, because in all reality, I cannot say which is which. What Palm Sunday does for us is to provide us a day for spiritual contemplation, which is always vital to our lives. Just as the Easter story symbolizes the deaths and resurrections of our lives, Palm Sunday reflects the human story as well. One of the lessons it presents is about facing fear, just as Jesus had to do in the last few days of his life. Yesterday was the first day of Passover. Passover was also the beginning of the completion of Jesus' life on earth, and a time of some discord between Jesus and the disciples, as he had just recently prepared them for what the next few days would bring. There was also an uneasiness in Jerusalem because the Sadducees and Pharisees were intimidated by Jesus. Because they didn't understand his purpose, they were afraid of losing their power, not realizing that he was speaking of the kingdom of heaven, not of a royal earthly kingdom. He didn't look for the throne or jewels or human power. The richness he sought and that into which he would lead us is the power and richness within. They didn't hear his words and were only there to find fault with what they perceived was an offense to their customs and violation of their laws. The scribes of the Pharisees interpreted the laws literally, while Jesus, being the Son of God, knew the true intention of each law. Jesus believed in the divinity of each individual, and just as the sun shines on every being, so he offered healing in the same generous way. This was something that rubbed his enemies the wrong way. The fact that he saw beyond the mask to the creative power within every being. He had pretty much been run out of the city earlier in the week and knew not to come back until his time had come. He had healed on the Sabbath more than once and learned that the religious leaders were conspiring against him, partly because he committed egregious actions such as this, healing on the Sabbath. Jesus knew that his time was near, and he would embrace the timeline that was laid out, but today was not the time. In a few days it would be. The disciples were fearful for him and for themselves. But as the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verse 53 says, his face was set toward Jerusalem. Jesus wouldn't be dissuaded. He knew his purpose, and now it was time. It was ordained that he must go to Jerusalem, that he must suffer and be killed, and that he must be raised again. This was his destiny. There was a choice, the human choice, but that choice would have taken him out of alignment with his whole reason for being. The Spirit of God was the force that compelled him forward. This is a difficult time for those of us who are looking through our human eyes, as Peter did. Peter tried to talk Jesus out of going to Jerusalem, where he knew that Jesus would suffer and be hung on the cross to die by the will of the Sadducees and Pharisees. Have you ever felt compelled and knew you were to move forward, not knowing exactly what you were up against, but knowing what the consequences would be? While those around you were trying to talk you out of what you were supposed to do. Even as your heart was racing, you decided and took a step in the direction you knew was yours to take. Years ago, I quit my job as an engineer. I didn't have a plan, but I knew that God would reveal that in time. I was staying for a week in a condo I had at Silver Mountain. Every night I would go to the hot tub on the roof to wait for the stars to spell out my destiny, because I'd been out of work now for 6 months. One night, when I was particularly open, I specifically asked for guidance and direction, and got just that. Not from the stars, but from a young couple, 19-year-old couple in the hot tub. They were having a fun vacation, but were less than thrilled with the food. But I got the voice, the still small voice, that came from a 19-year-old boy and spoke to me that night. What this resort really needs is a pizzeria. Quite the voice of God. And I gotta say, I have had the most support from this congregation in the creation of that pizzeria that opened in 2007. Think about it and where you might be needing guidance and direction. Are there any fears you are facing, any big changes? Can you rise above those fears to see the higher vision or the new path? Do you look to someone or something outside yourself for approval or advice? Sometimes we just need a little assurance from a friend, and sometimes it doesn't come in that form. It may be confusing. So look first, always, to your own heart and ask for what you need. In my experience, when I finally announced I was opening a pizza shop, everyone at the resort was really excited about it. When I get an idea, I tell everyone, knowing that someone will hold my feet to the fire. My son and I had a pretty big job ahead, since the building was a bare shell, and neither one of us had ever thought of opening a business. One day the landlord came in and suggested I might want to think about opening a little resort grocery shop instead. Another shop owner suggested I might want to open a sandwich shop in that spot, since there was already pizza at the resort. Well, the pizza at the resort was what the guy in the hot tub was talking about. It wasn't very good, and it was very expensive. I did not tell anyone about the still small voice that told me to make pizza. But I knew that the answer to my that was the answer to my prayers for direction. So I went quietly ahead with the plan that I shared with the universe. This may not be my mission in life, but it was my direction at the time, and it's still a thriving business after 13 years. Jesus was true to himself and his mission on planet Earth. He kept on being Jesus, teaching what he taught, attracting crowds, performing miracles, speaking in parables about the kingdom of heaven. And that is our job, to stay on purpose, to be true to our inner self, to listen to the voice, face the fear, and carry forth the mission, whatever it is, to keep doing what we're here to do, regardless of others' approval. One day you will notice you have emerged into a new life. I know that the word pizza took me in a direction I never would have imagined. Because it was divinely inspired, it all was so easy. Everything, when I went with it, everything fell into place, and that shop opened itself. So as you step forward in faith, you will find yourself surrounded by like-minded people, supporting you in every endeavor. So let's look at some metaphysical definitions in the Palm Sunday experience and see where they might fit in with our lives. Jerusalem symbolized the vision of peace within us. For us, Jerusalem, or the city of David, is the abiding consciousness of spiritual peace. Jerusalem symbolizes the nerve center just behind the heart, from which spirit radiates to all parts of the body. Jesus represents our I am identity, and he exhibits that as a teacher, a friend, a leader, a fisherman, a carpenter. and as the path, the way, the truth, and the life. His going up to Jerusalem means making the last move toward unfoldment in preparation for the final step, when the personality is entirely crucified and the Christ triumphs. The Christ is all that remains. Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem, representing his humility as regards his human self, and to demonstrate to the disciples once and for all that his kingdom is not that of material riches, but of spirit. In riding the donkey, Jesus displays the mastery of the animal nature and its manifestation, the colt, by the I am. In this act, he raised the animal forces to the spiritual plane of mastery, purity, and peace. This became important in building up and reinforcing the pure body, which was needed to triumph over death. The animal forces, or the thoughts of humankind, must be mastered and controlled in order to serve humbly and graciously as the Christ. He needed the strength of the animal forces to face what he had to face. Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem is met by hosannas of the rejoicing multitude and spreading of their garments and tree branches before Jesus. He was much moved by the sight of so many who had come forth to celebrate his arrival. This scene is representative of the joyful obedience and reverence that all thoughts in one's consciousness release when an error state of mind is overcome. In this moment, there was great joy, there was magic in the air, and the consciousness was lifted high. However, the energy of the crowd was geared toward honoring the Messiah who would take the throne, and there were enemies among them. Judas was about to betray him. The scribes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees wanted Jesus forever gone and were plotting to make that happen. The betrayal of Jesus represents the misuse of the substance that higher self gifts us with in order to gratify the human self. That's the betrayal. The Pharisees and the Sadducees symbolize the religious concepts of the intellect. They followed strictly the forms and ceremonies of religion, but did not recognize that the authority of spirit that underlies them is greater than the outward ceremonies and laws. The intellect does not comprehend absolute truth. This is like going through the motions without any work or thought behind them. Where do we see this in our lives? Someone following the rules, but not the spirit of the situation. As Jesus came within sight of Jerusalem, his tears fell, as he knew the spirit and the sorrow that would befall his people. They would soon reject God's gift, the Son of Peace. He so loved each and every being and believed in their divinity, even when they didn't believe in their own. He told them of the destruction that would be wrought because they did not recognize, I quote, the time of your visitation from God. Jesus was a rebel, a revolutionary. He wanted to change the misinterpreted laws and establish the kingdom of righteousness right here on earth. His was a spiritual revolution. He wasn't about overthrowing governments, just about overthrowing consciousness, helping everyone to discover the light within themselves. Certainly, Jesus' life and teachings did show the way to freedom, happiness, and prosperity. But Jesus had no intention of becoming an earthly king. And most of the people were not yet capable of understanding the spiritual kingdom in which the Christ is ruler. With hosannas still echoing in the streets, Jesus entered the temple. The scene before him was one of debauchery. Money changing, gambling, right there in the temple. In anger, he released all the caged animals from their pens and overturned the tables of the money changers. All commerce was swept from the temple in just a few minutes. It is written, "My house shall be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers." The house, the temple of God, represents our body. And the money changers are the material thoughts of greed, dishonesty, jealousy, fears, and other negative emotions that act as the destructive forces in the body, destroying our health, destroying our sanity. Those forces that buy and sell our goodness and purity lie at the depth of our being, draining our strength and vitality. Those are the forces that Jesus cast out through the power of his word. Those thoughts are our crosses to bear, and it is time we hang our negative emotions on that cross, crucify them, erase them, and resurrect in mind, raise mind and body from sense to spiritual consciousness. How many times have we promised our higher self, I'll be more understanding, more compassionate, kind, less controlling. I won't insist on my way. I will let others express their creativity in whatever way works for them. I won't criticize. I will keep calm and strong. Jesus taught by example, not by rules. He understood truth principles and applied them to change lives. A prayerful attitude saves the body from becoming a den of robbers by awakening it to the Christ consciousness. Unity's co-creator, Charles Fillmore, said, "We must look for Christ in ourselves, precisely as the man, Jesus, found the Christ in himself." My favorite verse in the body is Christ in you, the hope of glory. It's a biblical verse, but I thought it belonged to Charles Fillmore because he used it so often. But I just love this verse, and I carried home a stone from Unity Village one time, a big one, a landscape stone in my carry-on bag with those words on it. So it's really a special verse for me. On Friday night, we will honor the life and the hope Jesus brought to us through music, communion, candle lighting, and the last 7 words. We all know how this story ends. Or do we? All I know for sure is that this is a beloved story that has been told for centuries. Whether it's truth, tradition, myth, or mysticism matters not. Because of this story and the man about whom the story is written, there is a light in us that wasn't there before, and a spirit that lives on forever. He left each and every one of us with our own unique imprint of God's grace. And once again, nowhere in the world is there another exactly like you. So go forth today, be your very best, and keep making the changes that make the world a better place. God bless. I forgot. We have a special guest musician today, my good friend Karen Darling, and she is performing for the first time at Unity Center.
Well, Karen, thank you very much for that music. That definitely feel like my heart is full at this point. And Karen, definitely a sense of of understanding what Jesus went through and what that has to do with how we carry on the Christ consciousness in our own lives. So thank you very much. So, unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So, whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here. If you are new to our ministry and are interested in learning more about our upcoming transformational speakers, workshops, events, please sign up for our email newsletter by texting Unity Spokane to the number 22828. Or sign up on our website, unityspokane.org. We would also like to connect with you on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Unity Spiritual Center Spokane to find us. So let's now take a moment to acknowledge and bless one another with a socially distanced namaste greeting. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or you're at home, please feel free to stand up as you are able and send us your conscious, loving energy to those around you. Now is our time to celebrate abundance, to celebrate our abundance together. As we share our gifts and our love offerings. For those of you feeling the divine call to financially support our ministry today, you can drop your offering in the box at the back of the sanctuary. Another option is to text GIVE to the number 253-528-7416, or visit our website, unityspokane.org, and click the Donate button at the top. Please know that your giving means so much to the vitality of this community and our ministry. With that in mind, let's take a moment to now sink into our hearts and bring forth a feeling of gratitude and generosity as we say together our love offering blessing. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. Today, our chaplains are Marlene, who is holding our virtual service from home, and Tim, who is holding this space here. Thank you both, Marlene and Tim, for your service today. We would like to encourage anyone who has a need for prayer support to please submit your prayer request through our online form. Simply go to unityspokane.org and click on the Contact Us button on the main page. You will be taken to a prayer request form. Names are added to our prayer list and are prayed over for 30 days by both our prayer ministry as well as Silent Unity. So now let us join together for our closing prayer for protection, followed by the peace song. So together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.